Most men believe women are complicated. They are not. They are simply unmet. You shower her with attention. She grows distant. You give her reassurance. She loses respect. You become available. She becomes bored. So here is the real question. Are you failing her needs, or were you never taught what they truly are? Let us begin with the need most men misunderstand. When a woman seeks emotional safety, she is not asking you to be gentle like a servant or agreeable like a politician seeking votes. She is asking one question silently, constantly. Can this man remain grounded when emotions rise? You see, a woman's emotional world is fluid. It moves like water, sometimes calm, sometimes storming, sometimes unpredictable even to herself. And when she enters your life, she does not search for another wave. She searches for ground. But here is where most men fail. The moment her mood shifts, they panic. When she becomes distant, they chase. When she becomes emotional, they react. When she challenges them, they defend. And in doing so, they prove one fatal truth. They are ruled by her emotional weather. Understand this carefully. Emotional safety is not created by pleasing her. It is created by remaining stable when she cannot. If her voice rises and yours rises higher, she does not feel protected. She feels alone. If she withdraws and you spiral into insecurity, she does not feel valued. She feels responsible for your fragility. If she tests you with coldness and you respond with desperation, she does not feel desired. She feels power over you, and power without respect destroys attraction. Emotional safety means that your center does not move easily. It means you do not crumble when she expresses dissatisfaction. It means you do not explode when she disagrees. It means you do not beg when she needs space. And here is the paradox. Most men cannot digest. A woman will often test your emotional strength before she trusts it. She may question you. She may tease you. She may express frustration over something small, not because she wants conflict, but because she wants to measure the depth of your stability. Can you smile under pressure? Can you respond without overreacting? Can you hold your ground without becoming cruel? This is leadership in intimacy. A man who governs himself creates calm without demanding it. Now listen carefully. Emotional safety does not mean emotional suppression. You are not a statue. You are not required to be silent or indifferent. What she seeks is control, not coldness. You can express disappointment without rage. You can assert boundaries without shouting. You can disagree without attacking. And when you do this consistently, something shifts inside her. Her guard lowers. Why? Because she realizes she does not need to manage your emotions. One of the deepest fears a woman carries, though rarely spoken, is being with a man whose emotional reactions she must tiptoe around. If she feels that one wrong word will trigger your ego, if she feels that honesty will injure your pride, if she feels that conflict will escalate into chaos, she will never fully relax. And a woman who cannot relax cannot bond deeply. Many men believe providing money creates security. Many believe physical strength creates safety, but psychological steadiness, that is rare, and rarity creates value. When she sees that criticism does not break you, when she sees that silence does not frighten you, when she sees that her emotional waves do not control your direction, she begins to trust. Trust is not built in compliments. It is built in reactions. Pay attention to your reactions. When she says she needs time, do you interpret it as rejection? When she challenges your opinion, do you see it as disrespect? When she expresses discomfort, do you become defensive? Or do you remain composed, curious, and measured? A powerful man does not fear emotion. He contains it. Containment is not domination over her. It is mastery over yourself. And here is something few will tell you. A woman will forgive many flaws in a man, lack of perfection, occasional mistakes, even moments of uncertainty. But she will not forgive chronic instability. If she must constantly reassure you, she will grow tired. If she must constantly calm you, she will grow distant. If she feels more emotionally disciplined than you, attraction slowly erodes. Because deep within her psychology lies an instinctive desire for alignment with strength. Not aggression, not arrogance, but grounded certainty. You must become the emotional anchor. When storms come, you do not shout at the wind. You do not accuse the sea. You adjust the sail and hold the wheels steady. She watches how you handle frustration with others, She observes how you respond to inconvenience. She notices how you behave when plans collapse. These moments speak louder than romance. If you lose control over small matters, how will you manage larger ones? Emotional safety is built in ordinary interactions. It is built when she confesses insecurity and you do not mock it. It is built when she shares vulnerability and you do not weaponize it later. It is built when she makes a mistake and you correct without humiliation. And perhaps most importantly, it is built when you refuse to abandon yourself to gain her approval. A man who sacrifices his values to avoid tension does not create safety. He creates uncertainty, because if you bend for her today, you may bend against her tomorrow. Stability means consistency of character. You do not change personalities to keep her. You do not adjust principles to impress her. You remain aligned with who you are, calmly, unapologetically. This steadiness allows her to soften, and when she softens, intimacy deepens naturally. She does not need perfection. She needs predictability of strength. Can she rely on your reactions? Can she predict your fairness? Can she trust your restraint? If the answer is yes, she feels safe. And when a woman feels emotionally safe, she invests more deeply than any words could command. Now we enter dangerous territory, because this is where most men destroy their own value without realizing it. A woman does not want to feel hunted. She wants to feel selected. Understand the difference. When you chase, you communicate scarcity. When you select, you communicate standards. And attraction bends toward standards. From the very beginning, the dynamic is being formed. The speed of your replies, the eagerness in your tone, the way you rearrange your schedule at the smallest hint of her availability. You believe this shows interest. In reality, it often signals imbalance. Desire grows in spaces where value must be earned. If you are always available, always initiating, always adjusting, always overgiving, you unconsciously place her above you. And the moment she feels above you, something shifts internally. Curiosity weakens. Respect softens. Investment declines. This is not cruelty. This is psychology. A woman wants to feel that being in your life is a privilege, not a guarantee. When you chase excessively, you remove the tension that fuels attraction. You remove the uncertainty that keeps her engaged. You make yourself predictable in the most dangerous way, emotionally dependent. Look closely at men who struggle. They over-text, they over-compliment, they over-explain, they over-pursue. And when she pulls back slightly, they double their effort. Why? Because they fear loss. But fear is loud, and loudness repels. To feel chosen means she senses that you have options, but you prefer her. That preference must come from strength, not need. When you speak to her, it is intentional. When you make plans, it is decisive. When you invest, it is measured. You are not trying to win her approval. You are observing whether she aligns with your world. This shift alone changes everything. Instead of asking yourself, does she like me? You begin asking, does she fit into my standards? Now listen carefully. This is not about arrogance. It is about self-respect. A man without standards becomes adaptable to anyone. And when you are adaptable to anyone, you are special to no one. Women are highly perceptive. She can sense when she is your only option. She can sense when you would accept almost anything to keep her attention. And the moment she senses that desperation, attraction loses its edge. But when she feels that you are disciplined, that you are focused on your mission, that your time is valuable and not easily given, her perception shifts. You become a man with gravity, and gravity pulls. Chasing, on the other hand, pushes. Think about this. When she delays responding, do you become anxious? When she cancels once, do you immediately reschedule on her terms? When she seems distant, do you flood her with reassurance? Every one of those reactions tells her you are more invested in her than in yourself, and imbalance creates discomfort. To feel chosen means she sees that you are selective. You do not entertain every woman. You do not flirt with anyone who gives attention. You do not hand out emotional access freely. When she realizes that you could walk away if standards are not met, she values her position more deeply. This is where many misunderstand the concept. They think being distant or cold creates attraction. No, indifference without intention is weakness disguised as strength. True selection is warm but controlled. You show interest, but you do not overextend. You express desire, but you do not beg. You pursue, but you do not chase endlessly. You move forward with calm certainty, not frantic urgency. A woman wants to feel that you saw many paths and still walked toward her, not because you had no other direction, but because you decided. Decision is powerful. When you say, "I enjoy your presence," and your actions match your words without overcompensation, she feels valued. When you choose her for her mind, her humor, her character, not just her appearance, she feels recognized. But if she senses you, LDs say the same words to anyone attractive enough, she feels interchangeable, and nothing kills emotional investment faster than feeling replaceable. Here is another truth. Chasing often turns into silent resentment. You give too much, you invest too fast, you prioritize her above your own goals, and when she does not reciprocate at the same level, you feel unappreciated. But she never asked you to abandon your balance. You offered it. Selection protects you from this trap. When you choose carefully, you pace yourself. When you choose carefully, you maintain your routines. When you choose carefully, you keep your mission intact. She becomes a complement to your life, not the center of it. And paradoxically, that is what makes her want to move closer. Women are drawn to men whose lives are already in motion. A moving train does not chase passengers, it continues its path. Those who value the destination step on board. If you stop your journey to convince someone to ride with you, you weaken the entire structure. When she feels chosen instead of chased, her energy shifts. She invests more, she initiates more, she respects more, because now she feels she earned her place. And people protect what they earn. So ask yourself honestly, are you pursuing from confidence or from fear? Are you offering attention as a gift or as a negotiation? When your interest comes from abundance, she feels secure. When your pursuit comes from scarcity, she feels pressure, and pressure suffocates attraction. Stand tall in your standards, move deliberately, give attention intentionally. Let her feel that being with you is not something every woman receives. It is something she qualified for through alignment, character, and connection. There is a silent law in attraction that most men violate within the first week. They reveal everything, their plans, their fears, their daily routines, their entire emotional history. They believe transparency creates closeness, but uncontrolled transparency destroys intrigue. A woman is not only attracted to what she sees, she is attracted to what she senses, but cannot fully grasp. Mystery is not deception. Mystery is restraint. It is the discipline of not exhausting your depth too quickly. From the beginning, understand this, curiosity fuels emotional investment. When she wonders about you, she thinks about you. And when she thinks about you, attachment begins forming in silence. But when you explain yourself too much, text too much, share too much, you remove the space her imagination needs to operate. And imagination is far more powerful than information. Look at how most men behave. They respond instantly every time. They narrate their entire day. They overshare past traumas too early. They clarify every silence. In doing so, they become predictable, and predictability, when excessive, breeds comfort without excitement. Comfort alone does not sustain desire. Mystery creates tension, and tension, when controlled, creates attraction. Now listen carefully. Mystery does not mean playing games. It does not mean ignoring her intentionally to provoke anxiety. It does not mean lying about your life to appear complex. It means you understand that access to you is earned gradually. Your thoughts are not an open book to someone who has just arrived. Your vulnerabilities are not handed out. Without discernment, your time is not automatically available at every request. When you live this way, she senses layers, and layers create depth. A woman wants to discover you, not consume you in a single conversation. If she knows everything, by the third interaction, what remains to explore? The mind loses stimulation when there is nothing left to uncover. You must allow discovery to unfold over time. Speak with intention, not overflow. Answer questions without writing an autobiography. Share stories without revealing every emotional conclusion. Let her ask more. Let her lean in. Let her feel that there is substance beneath the surface that requires patience to access. Mystery also exists in unpredictability of rhythm. If you always text at the same hour, always call on the same day, always respond within seconds, You become mechanically reliable, but emotionally flat. When she cannot predict your exact timing, yet knows you are consistent in character, she remains engaged. Notice the difference between unpredictability of character and unpredictability of rhythm. Your character must remain stable. Your emotional responses must remain grounded. But your availability does not need to be robotic. You are a man with a life, responsibilities, ambitions. When your schedule reflects that reality, she perceives you as valuable. If she feels you are waiting around for her message, she senses imbalance. Mystery also lies in emotional composure. When she shares something intense, do you immediately overreact? When she compliments you, do you over-celebrate? When she pulls back slightly, do you over-question? Every overreaction exposes your internal state too. Clearly, composure keeps her curious. If she cannot easily read your emotional fluctuations, she studies you more carefully. And attention is the currency of attraction. There is power in silence. When she makes a provocative statement and you respond with a calm smile instead of a rushed explanation, tension builds. When she tries to read your opinion and you pause thoughtfully, instead of speaking impulsively, intrigue grows. Pauses create gravity. Most men fear silence. They rush to fill it. But silence, when held confidently, communicates depth. It suggests you are thinking beyond the surface. Mystery also requires you to maintain parts of your life that are separate from her. Your mission, your hobbies, your friendships, your ambitions. If she becomes your entire focus too quickly, you shrink your world to impress her. And when your world shrinks, your depth shrinks. But when she sees that your life continues to move powerfully, with or without her immediate presence, she feels she is entering something already structured. A structured life is attractive. Chaos is transparent. Structure is compelling. Another mistake men make is confessing devotion too soon. Intensity without foundation feels unstable. Let emotional progression mirror real connection. Do not rush declarations simply to secure her. When feelings are revealed gradually, they feel authentic. When they are rushed, they feel strategic. And women are exceptionally skilled at detecting forced intensity. Mystery protects you from appearing emotionally dependent. It ensures that your interest feels intentional, not overwhelming. It allows attraction to breathe. Remember this, a woman does not fall in love with information. She falls in love with the experience of discovering a man over time. Each layer she uncovers should feel earned. Each conversation should reveal depth without draining the well. When she leaves an interaction wanting to know more, you have succeeded. When she leaves feeling she has already figured you out entirely, desire begins to fade. Do not aim to be confusing. Aim to be layered. Do not aim to be distant. Aim to be measured. Let her see your strength slowly. Let her uncover your vulnerabilities selectively. Let her observe your consistency over time rather than announcing it. And most importantly, remain emotionally centered even when she tries to decode you. Because the moment you begin over-explaining yourself in fear of losing clarity, you surrender the very tension that sustains intrigue. Mystery is not about hiding who you are. It is about understanding that depth revealed gradually is far more powerful than depth displayed all at once. There is a silent exhaustion many women carry. It is not from work. It is not from responsibility. It is from feeling unseen in plain sight. You may admire her beauty. You may compliment her smile. You may desire her presence. But do you understand her internal world? That is the deeper hunger. A woman does not want to constantly explain why she feels what she feels. She does not want to submit written reports about her emotional shifts. She does not want to argue her way into being heard. She wants to feel recognized without having to fight for recognition. And most men fail here because they listen to reply, not to comprehend. When she speaks, do you search for solutions? Immediately. When she vents, do you correct her logic? When she expresses frustration, do you defend yourself before absorbing her perspective? These reactions may seem practical, but they send one message. You are more focused on being right than on understanding. Understanding is not agreement, it is alignment with her experience. If she says she felt ignored, your instinct may be to list evidence proving you were attentive. But in doing so, you dismiss the emotional reality she is expressing. What she seeks first is acknowledgement, not justification. She wants to feel that her emotions are safe in your presence. This is where emotional intelligence separates boys from men. A boy reacts to the surface of her words. A man listens for the meaning beneath them. Sometimes when she says, "You don't care," she does not mean you never care. She means she felt disconnected in that moment. If you respond defensively, the disconnection widens. If you respond with curiosity, it narrows. Ask yourself this: do you study her patterns? Do you notice when her tone shifts slightly? Do you recognize when her silence feels heavier than usual? Do you observe what topics light her up versus what drains her? Understanding is built through observation over time. It requires presence, not passive presence where you are physically there, but mentally elsewhere. Real presence where you register details. When she mentions something small, a childhood memory, a fear, a preference, do you remember it later? Memory signals importance, and importance creates attachment. If she must repeat herself constantly, she feels secondary. If she must explain basic aspects of her personal itty again and again, she feels unheard, and feeling unheard slowly erodes intimacy. Another critical truth: women often communicate emotionally before they communicate logically. If you demand perfect structure in every conversation, you will miss the message. Sometimes she speaks in fragments, sometimes she expresses frustration without clear direction, sometimes she changes topics mid-thought. This is not chaos, it is processing. If you interrupt with corrections, you shut down her flow. If you allow her to complete her emotional arc, she feels respected, and respect deepens trust. There is also a deeper layer many men ignore. A woman wants to feel understood not only in her strength, but in her vulnerability. When she reveals insecurity, do you minimize it by saying, "You're overthinking"? When she admits fear, do you dismiss it as unnecessary? When she shares something fragile, do you joke to lighten the mood? These responses may feel harmless, but they signal discomfort. She does not need you to eliminate her vulnerability, she needs you to handle it with care. Sometimes understanding is simply saying, "I see why that would affect you." No debate, no lecture, no ego. Just presence. And here is where many men misunderstand the power dynamic. Understanding her does not make you weak. It does not mean you surrender authority. It does not mean you abandon boundaries. In fact, the man who can understand deeply while remaining grounded is rare. You can acknowledge her feelings without sacrificing your position. For example, if she is upset about something you did, you can say, "I understand that hurt you," while still explaining your intention calmly. Balance. A woman who feels understood becomes cooperative rather than combative, because she no longer needs to raise her voice to be heard. Another layer to this need is anticipation. When you begin to understand her patterns, you anticipate reactions. You know what environments drain her. You know what conversations energize her. You know when she needs space versus when she needs reassurance. When you act with that awareness, she feels deeply seen. And being seen is intimate, more intimate than touch, more intimate than attraction, because being understood means someone has studied you, and study implies value. This is why shallow compliments lose power over time. You're beautiful may impress her initially, but I noticed you get quiet when you're processing something important, makes her feel observed. Observation builds emotional security, and emotional security builds loyalty. If she senses that you understand her internal shifts before she verbalizes them, she relaxes. She no longer feels alone inside her own mind, and that relief creates connection. Most men try to impress women, very few try to comprehend them. Comprehension requires patience. It requires silence. It requires ego control. It requires resisting the urge to dominate every disagreement. Ask questions that invite depth. What did that feel like for you? What part of that bothered you most? What were you hoping would happen instead? Questions like these open doors, but only if you truly listen to the answer. Do not ask to perform empathy. Ask to gain insight, because she can detect performative understanding instantly. If your eyes drift, if your tone becomes mechanical, if your responses feel rehearsed, she withdraws emotionally. Authenticity matters, and authenticity begins with genuine curiosity. Be curious about her contradictions. Be curious about her fears. Be curious about what shaped her before you arrived. When she feels you are invested in knowing her beyond the surface, she feels valued beyond appearance, and that is rare. Rare creates attachment. Rare creates depth. Rare creates the kind of bond that does not fracture easily under stress. When she feels understood without begging for it, she softens naturally. Not because you demanded it, but because she feels safe enough to be fully herself in your presence. Now step back. You have heard the needs. Not fantasies, not surface desires, but the psychological currents that move beneath attraction, emotional, safety. To feel chosen, not chased. Mystery that sustains curiosity. Understanding without begging. Notice something. None of these require wealth. None of these require perfect looks. None of these require manipulation. They require discipline, and discipline is rare. Most men try to impress a woman. Few try to master themselves. But every need we discussed points back to one truth. Before you can lead her emotions, you must govern your own. If you are unstable, she cannot feel safe. If you are desperate, she cannot feel chosen. If you overshare without restraint, mystery disappears. If you listen only to reply, she feels alone beside you. This is not about control over her, it is about control over yourself. Because the man who commands himself naturally commands respect, and respect is the foundat. Ion of lasting desire. Ask yourself honestly, not emotionally, not defensively, but strategically. Are you reactive or composed? Are you chasing or selecting? Are you predictable or layered? Are you hearing or truly understanding? Most men will attempt to satisfy all 7 needs at once and fail because they lack internal alignment. But you do not need to master all at once. Even satisfying one consistently places you above the majority. Consistency is power, not intensity, not grand gestures, not dramatic declarations. Consistency. When your character remains steady under pressure, she relaxes. When your standards remain firm without arrogance, she invests. When your depth unfolds gradually, she stays curious. When your understanding feels effortless, she bonds. This is not romance as movies describe it. This is influence through emotional intelligence. And influence, when paired with integrity, becomes attraction that does not fade easily. Remember, a woman does not fall for noise. She falls for presence. Presence that feels grounded. Presence that feels intentional. Presence that feels aware. So the question returns to you. Can you satisfy even one? Not occasionally, not when it is convenient, but as a standard of who you are. Because when you become the kind of man who naturally fulfills these needs, you stop chasing connection. Connection begins chasing you.